Did you know that within moments of meeting you, a man's brain has already made unconscious judgments based on just a few subtle features? And it's not only about surface-level attraction. According to Carl Jung, these responses are deeply rooted in the male psyche, shaped by ancient archetypes and thousands of years of evolution. So, which part of the body do men notice first and why? The answers might catch you off guard. Spicy ladies. Jung, the renowned psychologist, believed that what draws us to others goes far beyond personal preferences. Beneath our everyday awareness, our minds follow ancient inherited patterns, what Jung called archetypes, that quietly shape our desires. For men, these instincts often lock onto certain physical traits that hint at health, fertility, and even emotional resonance. But this isn't just a conversation about biology. It's about the secret language of the unconscious. Today, we're exploring 5 parts of the female body that men instinctively notice first, based on Jung's theories and supported by modern science. Some might seem familiar, but others will reveal just how deep these internal programs really run. By the end, you might see attraction in an entirely new light. Jung's work introduced the world to the idea of the collective unconscious, a shared layer of the mind that all humans carry, filled with symbols and stories that repeat across cultures and time. Unlike personal experiences that shape individual likes or dislikes, the collective unconscious influences us in quiet, invisible ways, guiding our behavior far below the surface. When it comes to attraction, this layer holds immense power. Archetypes like the maiden, the mother, and the lover all exist inside a man's unconscious mind, shaping what he's instinctively drawn to. These aren't just learned ideas. They're built-in emotional codes that steer a man's gaze without him even realizing it. Jung believed that these unconscious forces don't only spark desire. They also point to deeper truths about connection and projection, how we see our inner world mirrored in others. Evolutionary psychology adds another layer to this by showing how survival and reproduction shaped our instincts over thousands of generations. From a biological angle, men are wired to pick up on signals that suggest strong health, fertility, and good genetics, factors that once meant higher chances of producing healthy children. And these reactions aren't calculated or thoughtful. They're automatic, shaped by time and nature. Studies across cultures show that men tend to respond to certain physical traits again and again: clear skin, symmetrical faces, and specific body proportions. These signs once meant youth, vitality, and the ability to bear children. And those messages are still hardwired into the brain's reward system today, even if modern life no longer depends on them. That's why the body parts men notice first aren't random. They're deep, unspoken signs of potential compatibility and genetic health. Take smooth, clear skin, for example. It's long been linked with balanced hormones and good health. A waist-to-hip ratio that falls within certain ranges often signals fertility and a lower risk of disease. Full lips and shiny hair reflect estrogen levels. And expressive eyes suggest emotional openness, a key ingredient in forming strong emotional bonds. These traits don't just show up in medical studies. Jung's archetypes echo them, too, suggesting that attraction lives both in the myths we dream and the biology we carry. The archetypes of the maiden, the mother, and the lover aren't just characters from fairy tales. They mirror the real-life qualities men instinctively seek. In this way, Jung's depth psychology and modern evolutionary biology actually align, showing that what captures a man's attention isn't just about taste or culture. It's tied to deeper, timeless needs that live in all of us. Right now, if you're still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. This connection between nature and culture also helps explain why certain beauty standards appear again and again throughout history and across the globe. While media and fashion can shift the way beauty is presented, the archetypes beneath them remain. They're part of the human story, not just the trend of the moment. Even in today's world, where we don't rely on attraction for survival the way we once did, those old patterns still influence how we feel and what we're drawn to, often before we even speak a word. Understanding this doesn't just make attraction less mysterious. It also shows how human behavior is shaped by forces far older than we can imagine. Whether seen through Jung's symbolic lens or the sharp focus of science, the message stays the same. Attraction is a language written in the body and whispered through the unconscious. Now let's talk about the eyes. They've always been called the windows to the soul, and for good reason. They are one of the most powerful tools in human attraction. Jung believed that the eyes could bypass words and reveal the deeper truths we try to hide. When a man locks eyes with a woman, he isn't just noticing their beauty. His unconscious is reading signals about emotional depth, sincerity, and even relationship potential. Research in evolutionary psychology supports this. Eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the chemical that promotes closeness and bonding. Big, expressive eyes are often seen as youthful and gentle, traits linked with fertility and warmth. And Jung's concept of the anima, the feminine spirit inside the male psyche, might project itself onto the eyes, seeing the mystery, softness, and vulnerability, things that call to him in ways he can't explain. Whether at a quick glance or a lingering gaze, the eyes speak first, long before words do. Next come the lips. They carry more symbolism than almost any other feature. Sensual, emotional, and expressive. Lips are the bridge between what we say and what we feel. According to Jung's idea of masculine and feminine energies, lips exist right on the edge between the conscious and unconscious. Full lips aren't just attractive by today's standards. They've always been indicators of youth, health, and high estrogen, which links them to fertility on a biological level. However, during certain times in a woman's cycle, lips actually become fuller, a subtle but powerful signal of reproductive readiness. Their role in speaking, smiling, and kissing makes them central to both emotional connection and romantic chemistry. Even the contrast in lip color, whether natural or enhanced with makeup, draws the eye and speaks to those ancient instincts. When a woman smiles, bites her lip, or whispers something softly, the message sent is far more than skin deep. It's a language of emotion that's been spoken since the beginning of time. Hair, in Jungian symbolism, represents much more than just physical beauty. It holds the essence of vitality, identity, and even spiritual energy. Across different myths and cultures, flowing, healthy hair has always been linked to femininity and life force. Think of figures like Rapunzel or ancient goddesses portrayed with long, abundant hair. From an evolutionary point of view, the quality of a woman's hair acts as a natural signal of youth and well-being. Shiny. Thick hair reflects good nutrition and balanced hormones, while thinning or brittle hair might suggest stress or illness. Men's deep-rooted preference for long, well-cared-for hair may come from this connection to peak fertility, as hair tends to appear most radiant during a woman's reproductive prime. Jung might see this attraction through perspective of the great mother archetype, where hair stands for both nurturing comfort and wild, natural power. Even age-old traditions like braiding, coloring, or styling hair mirror these deep psychological associations, showing that hair's appeal isn't just surface level. It's a connection between biology, identity, and collective memory. The waist-to-hip ratio is another feature deeply studied in evolutionary psychology, and for good reason. Men from nearly every culture show a strong preference for a waist-to-hip ratio around 0.7, where the waist is notably narrower than the hips. This isn't just a random preference. It's built into the human mind. A lower ratio is linked with higher levels of estrogen, ideal fat storage for pregnancy, and lower chances of disease. Jung's image of the mother aligns with this instinct. The hourglass figure becomes a symbol of fertility, nourishment, and the powerful force of feminine creation. From ancient Venus statues to modern icons, this figure appears again and again, showing that this attraction is timeless and often unconscious. Even when fashion trends shift from fuller, curvier figures to extremely thin ones, the waist-to-hip ratio continues to hold its quiet power beneath those changes. It reminds us of something important. While culture might change what's considered trendy, the deep mind still reacts to shapes that signal life, health, and the possibility of future generations. Skin, perhaps more than any other physical trait, serves as a universal mirror of health and genetics. Smooth, glowing skin is naturally tied to strong immunity, hormonal balance, and youth, qualities that suggest vitality and fertility. Jung's archetype of the self, which represents completeness and harmony, finds its reflection in clear, unblemished skin. It becomes a symbol of balance between the inner world and outer appearance. From a biological standpoint, skin is an honest signal. It can't be faked easily, making it one of the most reliable ways the body shows its condition. Cultural beauty practices, from skincare routines to tanning, often try to recreate these natural signs of health. The shine of collagen-rich skin, or the flush from good blood circulation all point toward inner well-being. Even subtle cues like skin tone uniformity and facial symmetry affect how we are perceived because they point to stable development and strong genetics. In this way, skin becomes much more than just something we see. It communicates on a primal level, letting others know about our deepest state of health and harmony, often without a word being spoken. Together, these physical traits form a silent language of attraction. They show how biology and symbolism work hand in hand, shaping desire in ways we may never fully realize. Jung's archetypes and evolutionary instincts don't just exist separately. They blend into one another, weaving a story that explains why we feel drawn to certain people. When we start to understand this hidden language, we're not just figuring out attraction. We're touching something ancient, something shared across time, mind, and body. Even though evolutionary biology and Jungian ideas reveal strong patterns in what draws us to others, human desire is far from one-size-fits-all. Our individual histories and emotions shape our tastes in powerful, often hidden ways. Jung's idea of the shadow, the hidden, repressed part of our mind, can deeply affect what we're pulled toward. For instance, a man who grew up with a distant, cold mother might be unconsciously drawn to a woman with warm, gentle eyes, searching for the care he never received. On the other hand, someone who hasn't healed from past trauma might find themselves attached to people who remind them of old wounds, even when those features aren't seen as typically attractive. Similarly, a man's inner image of the feminine, his anima, isn't fixed. It changes over time, shaped by personal experiences and cultural surroundings. A boy raised around strong, outspoken women may be drawn to those qualities in a partner later in life. Meanwhile, someone who spent time immersed in delicate, dreamlike beauty in movies or art might long for softness and grace. These emotional layers explain why two men can look at the same woman and feel totally different reactions. One may feel enchanted while the other feels nothing, each moved by the invisible forces of their own inner stories. Culture adds even more layers to this puzzle. While biology gives us some common ground, beauty standards shift depending on the time and place. Take the waist-to-hip ratio, for example. Even though many studies show that the 0.7 ratio is widely preferred, different cultures have praised different body types. In some places and times, fuller figures were symbols of health, wealth, and abundance, like in the Renaissance period. In other times, a lean body suggests a refinement or discipline. Today, global media has both flattened and expanded these ideals. One day, social media praises sharp, angular features. The next day, it celebrates fuller lips and soft curves. Still, the core doesn't disappear. In fact, today's beauty trends often highlight natural signals of health, even if they're exaggerated or digitally enhanced. Filters, surgeries, and makeup might change appearances, but they often aim to mimic traits our brains are already wired to notice. Even groups that push back against mainstream beauty norms often replace them with new symbolic markers. Think of punk styles that use bold hair and makeup, not to erase identity, but to redefine it. These styles still express life and individuality, just in a rebellious way. The clash and blend between instincts and culture bring up big questions. Can the media really change what we're drawn to? Or is it just repackaging what evolution already shaped? Research says that while culture can stretch our ideas of beauty, it doesn't erase the deep instincts underneath. For example, even when trends favor different body types, studies show that men's eyes still linger on certain shapes, especially those that reflect fertility and health. Jung might say, this is a collective unconscious holding its ground, resisting change no matter how fast the trends move. But we shouldn't ignore culture's power. It can make certain traits more noticeable or valuable, like how pale skin was once praised in some societies for showing status, or how body hair was seen differently in different cultures. These social ideas don't erase biology, but they do shape how it shows up in everyday life. Attraction becomes not just something natural or something learned, but a mix of both, constantly shifting with time and experience. In the end, Knowing all of this doesn't take away the mystery of attraction. It makes it richer. It shows us how beautifully complex human desire is. We are pulled by instincts shaped over thousands of years. And yet, each person we love carries a story that's unique to us. When we see that attraction moves on many levels, from the primal to the deeply personal, we begin to understand that beauty isn't about perfection. It's about connection. It's about how someone touches a hidden part of us that we didn't even know was waiting. This awareness lets you step away from rigid comparisons and instead focus on building your unique presence. Confidence, after all, isn't about trying to fit into some made-up ideal. It's about embracing the real signals your body and personality naturally give off. When you carry yourself with quiet assurance, you highlight the very qualities that spark instinctive attraction, not through pretending or forcing, but through harmony with your true self. This understanding also changes how you interact socially. Knowing the unconscious forces involved helps you realize that attraction is rarely something we control with logic. It's mostly a response that happens beneath the surface. This removes the pressure to perform or twist yourself into someone you're not just to be accepted. Instead, you can focus on forming real connections by reaching into the deeper psychological layers that truly shape human closeness. Eye contact, for example, becomes more than just a polite habit. It becomes a doorway to trust and emotional connection. The way you move and hold yourself isn't only about posture. It's about showing your energy, confidence, and openness. Even the smallest things, like a warm smile or truly listening, can activate those ancient instincts of care and warmth that Jung spoke about. These cues are more powerful than they seem. But maybe the most important part of this perspective is how it moves attraction from something passive, something that just happens, to something you take part in with intention. When you understand the biological and psychological roots of connection, you stop seeing rejection as a personal failure. Instead, you recognize it as a simple clash of unconscious preferences. That shift builds resilience and inner calm, helping you relate to others from a place of interest rather than desperation. You begin to realize that while you can't control how others see you, you can absolutely grow the traits, honesty, presence, emotional openness, that touch something universal in every human heart. At the end of the day, the science and psychology of attraction uncover a deep truth. The most magnetic trait a person can carry is being completely at ease with themselves. When you stop chasing what's trendy and instead get comfortable in your own skin, you naturally strengthen the signals we're all wired to find captivating. This isn't about using clever tricks. It's about aligning with the age-old rhythm of human connection, where the mind, the body, and the soul work together in romance, friendship, or even at work. This awareness becomes a powerful way to build connections that feel natural and intentional. It meets our deepest need to be seen, to be accepted, and to belong. What makes attraction so fascinating is how it lives in that quiet space between science and soul, where biology meets emotion and instinct moves with feeling. We've talked about how men's first glances are often pulled toward 5 powerful traits: the expressive depth of the eyes, the unspoken messages of the lips, the vibrant life showing through the hair, the primal signal in waist-to-hip balance, and the visible health shown through skin. Each of these traits speaks in a silent language shaped by Jung's ideas and thousands of years of evolution. But as we've seen, attraction isn't only about how you look. It's about the deeper story those features quietly tell. Now, I want to hear from you. Out of these 5 traits, which one do you think has the strongest pull when it comes to first impressions? Is it the eyes, the so-called windows to the soul, or is it the lips, the soft messengers of emotion and desire that have inspired poets and artists for generations? Maybe you feel it's the waist-to-hip ratio, the mathematical code wired into human instinct. Or maybe you believe that glowing skin, with its quiet truth, tells the real story. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk, explore, and peel back more layers of this topic together. If this look into psychology and attraction opened your eyes to something new, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content diving into the hidden patterns shaping how we love, connect, and understand each other. We've only just begun to explore how deeply the mind shapes our relationships and desires. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching, and God bless.